And very good evening to everybody. Welcome to this next in our live stream series. This is Christopher Duigan coming to you from our home in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. This is our live stream on the 23rd of December, Wednesday the 23rd, and it is piano hour. We are coming up for a session, a very unusual session that I'll be playing and presenting to you tonight. And we very much hope that you are able to join us and enjoy an hour of music or so with us starting at 6 o'clock, which it looks like it is already right now. So thank you for joining us. This evening's program in our piano hour session, normally we have a very varied program of music from various styles and from classical and popular worlds. But I thought with Christmas Day, tomorrow being Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day, the 25th of December, being just tomorrow and the day after, that in fact a selection of seasonal music and in particular Christmas carols is appropriate for this evening's program. Now everyone knows Christmas carols. Christmas carols are just absolutely such familiar music. So many of us have sung them for so many years in various settings and in choirs and at schools and at various gatherings. And yet, I think they are, apart from incredibly beautiful music, they're also very interesting. We sometimes take it for granted as to where these carols actually come from and what the music of them is actually about. So this evening, I'd like to do something a little bit different. I'm going to devote the whole evening to a series of improvisations on carols. And I have included in the last couple of weeks in December, leading up to these concerts, in improvisation here and there. And they've been met generally with a positive response. For those of a few people who perhaps didn't like them and didn't like the way I handled them, I haven't heard from them, so that's absolutely fine. I'm not worried about that. But certainly I've got a number of requests to repeat a few of these carols and to possibly explore a few more. So I thought, well, here we go. Christmas carols, familiar melodies. I'm going to improvise around them for this next hour in this whole session. I'm also going to include one or two of my own compositions, which I think will fit into this program. So it's going to be a very mellow and a very gentle and a very unique sound, spontaneous improvisations around these melodies. Anything could happen. But the other idea is that, in fact, there is a possibility that you might be able to use or enjoy this music more than once over the next coming days. And so I'm going to be talking very little after this. And I am going to play large stretches of music so that, in fact, that you can lull yourself into this beautiful atmosphere, I hope, of musical delights around these melodies. So I'm going to start off with three carols, first of which is Hark, the Herald Angels Sing, melody actually composed by Felix Mendelssohn. The second carol, a very interesting piece, The Angel Gabriel. I've played this before and I'm fascinated by this music and the concept of it. The music is a traditional melody from the Basque country, France and Spain. And it has a unique, I find what unique about it musically is this contrast between the and then the change into the major. And this particular end, as opposed to, it's very unusual and it's a very ancient, has a very ancient sound. But the other concept which I'm particularly interested in terms of the narrative or the story of this, the angel Gabriel revealing himself or appearing to Mary to tell her what she could be expecting. And you can imagine that is quite a tumultuous, might be the right word, a tumultuous event. I mean, imagine an angel appearing in this incredible form, and some of the anticipation and perhaps the, not excitement, but the energy of that moment is something that I'm trying to capture in this improvisation that I'd like to play. And then the third one, the very beautiful melody, Once in Royal David City, a carol composed by Cecile Alexander in 1848. She wrote a number of carols in a book designed and intended really for children, and this book became well known, and in this particular carol was taken out and popularized by another collection of carols that brought together a number of carols at the time. And it's certainly spread. It's certainly one of the most well-known. I'm going to do something very unusual with that, Once in Royal David City. So these are 3 carols to start this evening's selection. Well, the sound of improvisations, my own original improvisations in these piano hour sessions since we've started several months ago, 9 months ago. I've always tried to include spontaneous improvisation in these programs, and with this being the 23rd of December, I thought it would be appropriate to feature Christmas carols. So there was a rather, you might say, deconstructed, might be the right word, different version of Once in Royal David City, a piece of music originally composed by Cecile Alexander. And before that, the angel Gabriel, a very ancient Basque carol. And to start off that series of 3 pieces, Hark, the Herald angels sing, as composed, the music and the melody composed by Felix Mendelssohn. We hope you're enjoying the music this evening. We hope you're enjoying the scenes, the beautiful scenery. Barry is controlling the cameras, and we've worked very hard to create a new and different setup. The annoying mirror, which is behind the piano, which has cast reflections of the technicians moving around the room, is gone, as you will see, and hopefully we won't have that interference. I mean, it's one thing to have noise interference in a studio, but to have a mirror with lights and cameras, and every time you're moving around, everyone can see it, every reflection. It was a real problem, so we have moved it. Hope it's working out. And you know, it's amazing. This evening I am wearing a red velvet suit, and as it happens, one sometimes has a red velvet suit in your wardrobe. And it seemed like a perfect occasion to wear it. I mean, where on earth do you wear a red velvet suit? I just happened to have found it once, and so this evening I thought a day or two before Christmas would be the appropriate occasion. So I'm going to continue with another improvised selection of music, this time starting off with one of my own pieces. So from my album Indigo, I included a set of 4 pieces called 4 KZN Landscapes. And from this selection of pieces, I'm going to play a track which was called Lion's River. However, initially in the first sort of composition, or the first sketches of this, it actually was called The Night Before Christmas. And the reason I came up and I'd used that title was that it had for me this sense of anticipation of just something incredibly peaceful, joyous, serene, and happy. And Lion's River was the other image that I associated with it. That beautiful climb on the N3, the highway out of Durban, Pietermaritzburg towards Johannesburg. And as you pass Hark, you go up and up the mountains, and then suddenly you arrive in the Lions River Valley, in the real Midlands. The beautiful KZN Midlands lies before you. It seems like a moment where this beautiful landscape unfolds before you majestically. And that same feeling of anticipation and that knowledge of being somehow comforted and held, one hopes, at this time in family and friends, and a joyous celebration of happiness, holiday, peace and goodwill that we experience at this time of year. So this is Lion's River, or The Night Before Christmas, my own composition. After that, I am going to play a improvisation on the carol, The First Noel. As I mentioned the other day when I played this, a very unusual melody, the way it's constructed. And that's repeated. It's very unusual for a melody to state a phrase and then immediately state the same phrase again, and continue in the same way. And the same melody. When you hear it like that, you think, gosh, that's a very straight, very simple little piece of music, but it's very cleverly composed, and also the fact that it never comes back to, except when it starts. It never ends on that bass note. It gives it this beautiful floating feeling. Again, I'm going to approach it with some unusual harmonizations and some unusual chords, and I'm going to end this section of 3 numbers, 3 pieces of music, with an improvisation on a very exotic sound on the carol We Three Kings. Right, well, that was another selection of music for our 23rd, our seasonal 'Tis the Season, apparently, for carols and seasonal music. I started off that selection with one of my own compositions, Lion's River, followed by We Three Kings. I did change the order. It seemed like a more appropriate bridge from one into the other, and then ending off there with the first Noel, Improvisation. Again, my original improvisation on those melodies, playing around with the chords, maybe sometimes with the timing, the sounds, maybe a reference to a familiar piece here or there. I'm going to end off this evening's session with a composition of my own called Midnight Chorale, off the album Midnight Blue. It has a very hymn-like quality to it. And then straight after that, I'm going to go into one of the most celebrated carols of all time, Silent Night. And it's so interesting, as I said in the beginning, how these carols have collected from various forms, from various countries, some of them thousands of years old. But in fact, in the year of 1818, a priest by the name of Joseph Moyer approached Franz Gruber, who was a teacher in a little village in Austria, which is now Austria, and asked him to write music for words that he had written for a carol, and that being Stille Nacht, Heilige Nacht, Silent Night, Holy Night. And this was to be presented to the congregation on Christmas Eve, 24th of December. I always thought from what I'd understood that when they came to present this on the organ bellows had been chewed and eaten by rats, so the organ didn't work. But in fact, apparently, according to what I read today, there had been a flood and the organ had been damaged by water. And in fact, this poor church has no longer exists. It was bombarded. It was in a floodplain and flooded so regularly it was eventually demolished. It no longer exists. But imagine, put yourself in this picture on a snowy Christmas Eve in 1818, and instead of hearing the organ, the musician accompanied himself on the guitar and sang Silent Night to the world for the very first time. It seems so familiar and seems so perfect. It seems like it's been there forever, but it in fact hasn't. And so this will be the last improvisation the last piece on my selection for tonight. the magic there of an incredibly simple but beautiful and touching melody, Silent Night, is composed by Franz Gruber. Before that, one of my own compositions from the album Midnight Blue, a piece called Midnight Chorale, which I thought fitted somewhat neatly into this program of seasonal music. And that does bring us to the end of this evening's piano hour. This has been a selection of seasonal music and mainly carols, which I've improvised around in my own style. It's very much my own color, my own choice, my own idea and taste. It's not something that's for everybody. So if you've enjoyed it, I'm very grateful. If you haven't, I'm sorry. There have been 76 other streams that we have presented, and I'm sure there's been something in there for you to enjoy. If you are able to support us with this project and these live streams and presentations which we are bringing to you free of charge on all your devices, available on YouTube and Vimeo and my website and various other platforms, including Facebook, please feel free, if you are able to support us by purchasing a ticket or by making a general financial contribution, either to the running costs or to the general living costs. And I have to admit, general living costs include dog food, and dog food, yes, you see, just when the concert's over, just when it's coming to a close, we know that someone's coming to visit. And who is here? It is little Lucy. Yes, you have been fed already. Come on, Luce. Right, here's Luce. Luce is going to make her Christmas appearance. Here we go, Luce. Luce, did you like the carols? Did you like Silent Night? Which was your favorite one? Which was your favorite carol, Luce? Which was the one that you liked the most? Little Lucy always comes in for a visit towards the end of the session. And tonight you're on camera. Look how pretty you are. I think you need to go to the parlor soon. Lucy, affectionately known sometimes as the little pudding, for various reasons. Little fluffy pudding. You're like a big meringue. Hey, someone's going to have a meringue for Christmas. This is little Lucy. So thank you for joining us tonight. We hope you've enjoyed the selection. I really hope you've enjoyed it. It's been quite a risk. I was very cautious about doing a whole series of improvisations, but I thought that the mood and the music, the melodies, the familiarity and the mood and the spontaneity of it was something maybe a little bit different, intimate, and a bit unique, and still within keeping of the piano hour concept. Thank you to Barry for the technical support. You'll see, if you weren't joining us on Saturday, that Father Christmas arrived a little bit early for us, and we have access to a new computer, which is allowing us a very stable, firm and secure stream, I hope, with no sound drops and no visual slow-mos. The computer is now supercharged and is able to cope with all the session and all the information that it's going to throw at it, including a couple of new things which we're bringing into it as well. So, thank you for joining us tonight. We only can wish you a very Merry Christmas, a happy and peaceful holiday season. There will be a session on Saturday. It unfortunately will not be live. I will be compiling a series of highlights to present and premiere at 6 o'clock on Saturday. I will be elsewhere for a small social engagement with one or two other people. But I will definitely be back next week, not on Wednesday, but on Thursday, because next Thursday is New Year's Eve. So it's Thursday, the 31st. We're just changing for one day to have a really smashing, energetic, fun program that you can enjoy at any point in New Year's Eve as you wish, starting from 6 p.m., but you can watch it whenever you like. And then we'll carry on with our 2 streams a week in January. It's been great fun, and I really appreciate all the support and contributions that everyone has been able to make. Look after yourself, stay safe, stay well, and have a very good evening. I'm going to play out with a little improvisation, so Lucy, you're going to have to go down.